Deep beneath the cracked, sun-bleached bed of the Euphrates River, something is screaming. For thousands of years, the water served as a seal, a liquid lock on a prehistoric prison. But the water is gone, and according to ancient texts, the four entities chained in the abyss have just heard the key turn in the lock. The cradle of civilization is dying. For 6,000 years, the Euphrates River has been the lifeblood of empires. It nourished Eden, sustained Babylon, and carved the path for the birth of humanity. But today, the lifeblood has slowed to a trickle. Satellite imagery shows a terrifying transformation. Where massive currents once flowed, there is now only cracked earth and the skeletons of dead fish. To the politician, this is a water crisis. To the geologist, it's a climate shift. But to those who study the ancient scrolls of Patmos, this is something far more sinister. In the Book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12, it is written, "The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east." But why would a drying river be the trigger for the end of the world? Is the water merely a physical barrier for an invading army, or is it a supernatural seal holding back something that should never have been let out? The world is watching the water disappear, but few are looking at what the receding tide has left behind. As the water retreats, the Euphrates is giving up its secrets. In Iraq and Syria, ancient structures are emerging from the mud for the first time in millennia. We see the ruins of Anna, ancient prison cells carved into the rock, and tunnels that seem to descend into an impossible darkness. But it isn't just stone and mortar. In recent years, viral videos have surfaced from the dry banks. Audio recordings of what some claim are groans or clashing metal echoing from deep within the newly exposed caves. Skeptics call it wind moving through limestone. Geologists call it shifting tectonic plates. But the locals, they speak of a heavy, oppressive energy radiating from the depths. They tell stories of the abyss, a place that was never meant to be seen by the sun. Is it possible that these newly revealed tunnels aren't just ruins? Could they be the vents of a subterranean dungeon designed by a power higher than any human architect? If these tunnels are indeed a prison, we have to ask the most terrifying question of all: who or what is being kept inside? To understand the nature of these prisoners, we have to look at the most feared passage in the New Testament, Revelation chapter 9. The text describes a voice coming from the horns of the golden altar, commanding, "Release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." Note the language. These are not holy angels. Holy angels are not bound. They are not chained in the dark. In the biblical context, to be bound is to be imprisoned for a crime against the Creator. Some theologians believe these are the watchers mentioned in the extra-biblical Book of Enoch, celestial beings who defected from the heavens. While the Bible calls them angels, the ancient texts describe them as something closer to cosmic titans. These four entities are not alone. They are leaders, they are generals, and they have been sitting in the dark for thousands of years, nursing a rage that is older than the human race. But what could a celestial being possibly do to deserve an eternity in chains beneath the crust of the earth? Ancient legends suggest that the story begins on the peaks of Mount Hermon. According to the Book of Enoch, 200 watchers descended to earth, led by a figure named Samyaza. They didn't come to help humanity. They came to dominate it. They took human wives, creating a hybrid bloodline known as the Nephilim, giants that consumed the resources of the world. But their greatest crime was the forbidden knowledge. They taught men the art of metallurgy, how to forge swords and armor, turning brothers against each other in total war. They taught women the secrets of sorcery, astrology, and beautification to incite lust and deception. The chief among them, Azazel, is credited with corrupting the very soul of the human race. The world became a theater of blood and occultism. The interference was so severe, the texts say, that the heavens had to intervene. The Nephilim were destroyed, and their fathers, the Watchers, were dragged into the dark places of the earth, bound in everlasting chains, until the day of judgment. The Euphrates was chosen as their tomb, a river to act as a weight, a seal, and a reminder of their fall. For millennia, the water was enough to keep them forgotten, but the water is gone. If we interpret the Euphrates as a supernatural barrier, its drying is more than a geographic event. It is a spiritual countdown. In the ancient texts, many of these beings were sentenced to be bound for 70 generations. If you calculate the timeline from the estimated era of the Great Flood to the present day, we are currently living in that final window. The drying of the river isn't just an accident of climate change. In many prophetic circles, it's seen as the breaking of the seal. Think of the river like the wax on a royal letter. Once the wax melts, the contents are revealed. The riverbed is now exposed. The pressure has changed. The prison of angels is no longer submerged under billions of gallons of water. It is exposed to the air. It is exposed to the world. Some believe the rise in global chaos, the sudden obsession with the occult, and the feeling of impending dread are the spiritual fumes leaking from this opening prison. The entities haven't fully emerged yet, but their influence is already poisoning the atmosphere. But when the chains finally snap, these four won't come out alone. They are bringing an army. The vision of what happens next is the most terrifying imagery in the Bible. Revelation 9 describes the release of the four angels, and immediately following, the appearance of an army. 200 million. The text describes horses with the heads of lions, breathing fire, smoke, and sulfur. Their riders wear breastplates of fire, hyacinth, and brimstone. This isn't a modern army of tanks and jets. This is something from a nightmare, a demonic cavalry that modern readers often struggle to comprehend. The scale of the devastation is mind-numbing. The scripture claims that this force will kill 1/3 of all mankind. If this happened today, we are talking about the deaths of over 2.5 billion people. It is a judgment of such magnitude that it dwarfs every war in human history combined. The prophecy links this slaughter directly to the drying of the Euphrates. It is the way of the kings of the East. Whether this refers to a literal geopolitical alliance from Asia or a supernatural invasion from another dimension, the result is the same: the end of the world as we know it. Is this a metaphor for a future war or a literal description of a spiritual invasion? The answer may be hidden in the headlines of today. We live in an age where the lines between ancient myth and modern reality are blurring. We see the Euphrates drying in real time. We see the Middle East, the literal center of this prophecy, engulfed in perpetual tension. Geopolitically, the kings of the East are rising. Spiritually, the world feels like it is waiting for a storm that never ends. Perhaps the drying of the Euphrates isn't just about water rights or irrigation. Perhaps it's a warning, a sign that the era of human history is entering its final, most turbulent chapter. The prison is open. The water is gone. The four angels are stirred. We are told that these events are bound to a specific hour, day, month, and year. We don't know the date. But for the first time in history, we can see the stage being set. Are we the generation that will see the chains fall? Or is the dry riverbed just a silent witness to a story we aren't yet ready to believe? The water is gone, the silence is over, and something is rising. If this exploration of ancient prophecy and modern mystery kept you watching, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We dive deep into the world's most unsettling mysteries every week. What do you think is waiting under the Euphrates? Is it a myth or a literal warning? Let us know your theories in the comments below. Keep your eyes on the river, because once the water stops flowing, the screaming starts.